Have you ever felt the weight of life's trials and doubted your path? In these times of doubt, remember this divine promise. Surely Allah does not allow the reward of the doers to be lost. Surat Al-Imran 315. This precious truth reminds us that every effort, every act of kindness is not only seen, but also rewarded by our Creator. Before starting this video, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay informed of our upcoming publications on the Islamic faith. Thank you and good video. In this video, we will explore the many promises Allah makes to His servants, sacred commitments that illuminate our spiritual journey. We will see how these promises, far from being simple words, carry a deep and essential meaning for our faith. They encourage us to persevere, to act with integrity and trust in Allah, even when times are tough. Prepare to discover the richness of His promises and their impact on our daily lives, because understanding His truths can transform the way we live and approach each day. So stay with me till the end to find out. If you have any questions or comments along the way, please let me know in the comments. Feel free to leave them at the bottom. I really appreciate your feedback. Let's go. Being a servant of Allah is a sacred calling that involves total commitment to our Creator. This servitude manifests itself through devotion, submission, and the fulfillment of our religious obligations. In the Islamic faith, every believer is invited to develop an intimate relationship with Allah based on love, fear, and gratitude. This means not only conforming to divine laws, but also understanding that our very existence is an act of worship. The servants of Allah are those who, through their actions and intentions, strive to reflect divine qualities in their daily lives. It involves treating others with respect, seeking justice, and exercising compassion toward all living things. In this context, the notion of Allah's promise is of capital importance. These promises are not mere words, but sacred commitments that demonstrate Allah's mercy and benevolence towards His servants. As believers, it is essential to recognize that these promises are often tied to our efforts and commitment. Allah offers us reassurance and encouragement, reminding us that even in times of uncertainty, we are never alone. Trust in Allah is a fundamental pillar of the Muslim faith. It translates into a deep belief that no matter what challenges we face, Allah has a plan for each of us. This trust, called tawakkul, involves relying on Allah after having made the necessary efforts. It influences the way we approach life. When we place our trust in Allah, we develop inner resilience and serenity in the face of obstacles. This certainty that our Creator is always present and that He watches over us encourages us to move forward with faith and determination. For believers, this confidence manifests itself in many aspects of their lives. It allows them to face trials with patience, to seek the good even in difficult times, and to remain optimistic about the future. Knowing that Allah keeps His promises, believers feel supported in their efforts, and this assurance pushes them to act with integrity and surpass themselves. They are encouraged to multiply good works, not only to benefit from the promised rewards, but also to strengthen their relationship with Allah. In summary, being a servant of Allah means fully committing to living according to His commandments, seeking to understand His will, and acting righteously. Trust in Allah and His promises profoundly influences the lives of believers, providing them with a spiritual compass and helping them navigate through life's trials with hope. The promises of Allah in the Quran. The Quran, as a divine guide, is full of promises from Allah that bring hope and comfort to believers. These promises manifest in many forms, including divine protection, rewards in the afterlife, and support in trials. Each promise is a reminder of Allah's benevolence and constant presence in the lives of believers. Subtitles produced by the Amara.org community. One of the central themes of the Quran is the promise of protection for those who believe in Allah and act according to His will. Allah reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah is the protector of those who believe. He brings them out of darkness into light. Surah Al-Baqarah 2257. This verse emphasizes that sincere faith and submission to Allah protects us from the trials and dangers that surround us. In a world filled with uncertainties and challenges, this promise of protection is a source of comfort for believers. By placing their trust in Allah, they can overcome the fears and worries that assail them. Furthermore, The Quran mentions that those who take refuge in Allah with sincerity will find safety and peace. For example, in Surat Al-Imran it says, "Do not be afraid, for Allah is with us." Surat Al-Imran 373. This verse reminds believers that even in the darkest times, Allah is always present, watching over them and protecting them. Reward in the hereafter. Promises of reward for those who obey Allah and remain faithful are at the heart of the Islamic faith. Allah reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, "And those who believe and do good deeds will have gardens under which streams flow." This is the great success. Surah Al-Baqarah 225. This verse describes the beauty of paradise and the eternal rewards that await those who strive to lead a virtuous life. These promises inspire believers to act righteously, turn away from sin, and seek Allah's pleasure in all their actions. The promise of heaven is also reinforced by other verses that describe the heavenly blessings reserved for believers. In Surat Al-Imran, Allah says, "And know that your wealth and your children are but a temptation, and that Allah has in His possession a great reward." Surat Al-Imran 386. This reminds us that the fleeting pleasures of this world cannot compete with the eternal rewards that await the faithful in the afterlife. Keeping this in mind, believers are motivated to persevere on the right path, multiply their good deeds, and seek Allah's blessing. Support in trials. Life is full of challenges, and Allah promises to help His servants in difficulty. The Quran states in Surah Al-Baqarah, "Indeed, with difficulty comes relief." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:2-6. This verse teaches us that every trial is accompanied by a way out, by divine support that guides us through our difficulties. This invites believers to develop their patience, sabr, and to trust in the wisdom of Allah. Another essential verse is found in Surat Al-Anfal, where Allah says, "And know that Allah is with the sick." Surat Al-Anfal 8.46. This verse highlights that Allah's presence is especially felt by those who demonstrate patience and resilience in the face of challenges. It reminds believers that they are never alone in their struggle, and that divine help is always at hand. In short, Allah's promises in the Quran offer a glimmer of hope and valuable guidance for believers. Divine protection, rewards in the afterlife, and support in trials are all reminders that our faith and efforts are never in vain. By cultivating this trust in Allah and remembering His promises, believers can navigate life's challenges with courage and serenity, knowing that their Creator is always on their side. The promises of Allah. In the hadiths, as the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, complement the Quranic revelations and shed light on the promises of Allah to His servants. Through His words and actions, the Prophet emphasized the importance of faith, good deeds, and trust in Allah. His wise teachings encourage believers to lead virtuous lives, while reminding them that Allah's promises are unshakable. Hadith example. A well-known hadith reminds us that the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, said, "Allah said, I am according to the opinion of my servant. If my servant thinks well of me, he will have what he thinks." Sahih al-Bukhari. This hadith highlights the importance of maintaining a good opinion of Allah and having confidence in His promises. This inspires believers to approach Allah with hope and gratitude, knowing that their faith and intentions can influence their destiny. Another hadith highlights the rewards reserved for those who act righteously. The Prophet PBSL said, "Whoever goes to Allah, Allah will show him the way." Sunan Abu Majah. This reminds us that every action taken to please Allah is rewarded, even if they seem small. This promise encourages believers to persevere in their good deeds and to constantly seek closeness to Allah. A hadith highlights Allah's promise of protection for those who are sincere in their faith. The Prophet PBSL said, "Allah protects those who have faith, even if they are in a difficult situation." Sahih Muslim. This hadith assures believers that Allah will support them in times of difficulty and distress, offering them comfort and protection. Inspiring stories. The companions of Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, often illustrated the practice of these promises of Allah through their lives. A famous account is that of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first caliph of Islam. During the migration from Mecca to Medina, he was at the side of the Prophet. While hiding in the cave of Tahur, Enemies were looking for them. Abu Bakr, worried, said to the Prophet, "If one of them looks under his feet, he will see us." The Prophet replied, "Don't worry, Allah is with us." Sahih al-Bukhari. This unwavering trust in Allah's promise was rewarded, as they were protected and able to continue their mission. Another inspiring example is that of Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph who always demonstrated faith and justice in the promises of Allah. In a moment of doubt during a battle, he raised his hands to the sky praying, "O Allah, help us to do what is right and achieve victory." His faith and dedication were rewarded with success in battle, proving that sincerity and faith in actions attract divine aid. Finally, the story of Bilal ibn Rabah, the famous muezzin of the Prophet, is a poignant example of the promises of Allah. A former slave, Bilal was tortured for his faith, but his patience and devotion led to his release and elevation to the rank of one of the Prophet's most respected companions. His story serves as a reminder that fidelity and steadfastness in faith, even in the face of intense trials, are rewarded by the mercy of Allah. These stories and teachings of the Prophet Muhammad PBUH show that the promises of Allah are both a comfort and an encouragement to the believers. By having faith in Allah and acting righteously, every Muslim is assured that God's promises will come true in this life and the hereafter. The stories of the companions illustrate that even in the darkest times, the light of faith and trust in Allah opens doors of mercy and divine support. The consequences of faithfulness. Faithfulness to Allah and trust in His promises has profound effects on the lives of believers. This loyalty is not just an abstract belief, but manifests itself in daily actions, life choices, and social interactions. Allah's promises, whether of protection, reward, or support, act as powerful engines that impel believers to lead virtuous lives and aspire to excellence. Impact on daily life. When believers remember Allah's promises, it influences their behavior and the way they interact with the world around them. They strive to embody Islamic values such as sincerity, patience, gratitude, and kindness. These values, rooted in faith, help them navigate through life's challenges with confidence and optimism. Allah's promise of protection and support in trials inspires believers to be resilient in the face of difficulties. For example, when faced with failures or disappointments, they remember that each challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. This perspective allows them to stay motivated and determined to pursue their goals, knowing that Allah is with them. Additionally, believers who demonstrate loyalty and obedience to Allah often engage in actions that benefit their community. By sharing their resources, helping the needy, and preaching positive values, they create an environment of solidarity and compassion. This dynamic strengthens not only their own faith, but also that of those around them. Contemporary examples. Many contemporary testimonies illustrate the impact of Allah's promises on the lives of believers. For example, Fatima, a young woman who went through a difficult period of unemployment, said that her faith in Allah and trust in His promises helped her overcome her doubts. Every day I prayed for Allah's guidance and remained hopeful. I knew Allah had a plan for me, even if I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, I found a job that I'm truly passionate about, and I'm grateful for every moment of it. Another example is that of Khalid, a man who struggled with addiction issues. After he began praying regularly and remembering Allah's promises of support and healing, he was able to free himself from his chains. He explains, "I understood that my strength did not come from me, but from my faith. By turning to Allah, I found the courage to change my life. Today, I strive to help others who are going through similar struggles." Finally, there is the story of Layla, a single mother who raises her children alone. She has always had faith in the promises of Allah, which give her strength. I remember the words of the Prophet, "Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity." This reassures me every day. I do my best to raise my children in the faith, and I firmly believe that Allah supports us in our challenges. These testimonies reveal how loyalty to Allah and trust in His promises can transform lives. Believers who hold on to their faith often find solutions to the difficulties they encounter, and their commitment to leading a virtuous life allows them to become role models for others. Ultimately, the consequences of loyalty to Allah are manifested not only in inner peace and personal resilience, but also in the positive impact they can have on their community. Our call to action aims to inspire everyone to deepen their faith and to become more committed to Allah. Confidence in divine promises is not just an abstract notion, but a path to follow in daily life. As a believer, it is essential to remember that every gesture, every prayer, and every act of kindness is a way of honoring our relationship with Allah. Strengthening your faith begins with regular connection with the divine. We encourage you to establish a prayer routine, not only to fulfill a duty, but to make it a sacred moment of communication with Allah. May each prayer be an opportunity to reflect on the promises He has made and to feel supported in trials. Do not hesitate to multiply the invocations and express your needs and desires to Allah, keeping in mind that He always listens. Reading the Quran is another essential practice. The Quran is not only a source of guidance, but also a constant reminder of Allah's promises. Take time to meditate on the verses, understand their meanings, and apply their teachings in your daily life. Spend a few minutes each day reading and thinking about passages that speak of divine mercy, protection, and support. Finally, don't forget the importance of charity. By giving to others, you are not only showing your gratitude for Allah's blessings, but you are also helping to fulfill His promises, whether through financial donations, volunteer help, or simple acts of kindness. Every gesture counts. Charity, in all its forms, strengthens our faith and reminds us that we are part of a larger community where love is mutual support. Our fundamental values. Commit to incorporating these practices into your life. Strengthen your faith in Allah, build deeper connections with the Quran, and live the values of charity and solidarity. Every step you take towards a life guided by faith will not only bring you closer to Allah, but will also transform you into a beacon of light and hope for those around you. As we look through Allah's promises to His servants, we have discovered assurances of protection, support, and eternal rewards. Each of these promises is a beacon of light in our faith journey,